Welcome to the Killer Innovation Show, the longest continuously produced podcast in history. Each week, Phil McKinney brings you the insights and strategies to amplify your creativity and innovation skills. Here's your host, Phil McKinney.
As you can probably tell, I've been thinking a lot lately about thinking. Yes, you heard that right. Yeah, it's a little bit meta. It's a little bit of a mind bender. But trust me, this is going to be worth your time. We all have unique ways of viewing the world. Sometimes, though, these perspectives can lead us astray. We may find ourselves making thinking mistakes that hinder our growth, our success, but more importantly, we will make bad decisions with these thinking mistakes. Today, I want to share with you the 6 most common thinking mistakes that hold people back. By avoiding these mistakes, you can improve your decision making, your communications, your overall skills, but more importantly, your overall mindset. And I'm speaking from personal experience here. I used to make these thinking mistakes all the time. But once I became aware of them, I was able to overcome them and achieve greater success, both personally and professionally. So, as we dive in to explore these common thinking mistakes, remember, it's not about perfection or avoiding the mistakes altogether. It's about recognizing them and learning from them so we can continuously improve our thinking and reach our full potential. But more importantly, we can avoid the mistakes that put us into a position of making bad decisions. So, first, and probably the one that we're most familiar with, is confirmation bias. Have you ever found yourself paying attention to information that confirms what you already believe? We see this today in politics and in journalism and all kinds of things, right? That, my friend, is confirmation bias in action. It's like being at a concert and only hearing the songs you know and you love. Any of the new stuff, it just kind of fades into the background. You ignore it. You let your mind wander. In innovation, this appears as a reluctance to consider new ideas or new information that contradicts what we already believe or our assumptions about how the world operates or how your organization operates. Some may call this not invented here. But here's the thing. Innovation thrives on diversity of thoughts and challenging the status quo. So, I'm going to challenge you to actively seek out differing perspectives and be open to changing your mind. Now, the second most common thinking mistake is overgeneralization. Now, this is when we take one or two instances and extrapolate them to an entire category. So, for instance, have you ever had a bad experience with a certain type of food and then sworn it off for life? In my case, my very first anniversary dinner with my wife was a banana Foster dessert. I was so sick that night and the next 2 days. I didn't eat ice cream or bananas for years, literally for years, and therefore I applied it to all forms of desserts. That's overgeneralization. The same happens when you hear about an idea that didn't work for someone else and then automatically assume it won't work for you either. This kind of thinking can limit your potential and can prevent you from exploring entirely new possibilities. Now, how do you avoid this mistake? Now remember, one bite of a food doesn't make it the entire answer. Don't let a single instance color your entire perception. Number 3, third most common thinking mistake, catastrophization. Now, I'm not even sure this is a word, but it's when we imagine the worst possible outcome of an event. It's like hearing a riff you don't like in a song and suddenly predicting the band's going to be terrible or the band's only going to be a one-hit wonder. But here's the truth. Catastrophes rarely happen. And even if they do, we are often more resilient and capable of handling them than we give ourselves credit for. Don't let the fear of failure hold you back from taking risks and trying new things. Avoiding this mistake is by trying to maintain a perspective. A single sour note, or maybe an idea that blew up in the past, doesn't mean that the whole thing is ruined and can never be done forward. Don't let the fear of failure, the fear of causing a catastrophe, or the likelihood that an idea is going to be a catastrophe because of some artificial thought process we got going on in our head hold us back. You have to be able to get over that. And believe me, this is one of the really tough ones. We have this innate ability to take something that might be slightly negative and play it out to its worst possible outcome. And I'm in this category, I will tend to always look at negatives around projects or efforts. I'm always trying to come up with alternative strategies and alternative thinking and backup plans and plan Bs and plan Cs, plan Ds. And you can get yourself so wound up and convince yourself not to move forward because some catastrophe might happen. Trust me, they rarely do happen. And you have ample opportunity to correct course once you get the project going. So don't let this focus on catastrophe derail your thinking and being able to be truly evaluative and use it towards your critical thinking decisions around a given idea or a given project or activity. The fourth, emotional reasoning. Now, this is when we let our feelings guide our interpretation of reality. It's like, letting your bad mood affect your enjoyment of a perfectly good, concert or movie or date night with your significant other. Now, in innovation, this can manifest as discounting ideas because they, quote, don't feel right or they don't align with your current emotions. But feelings are not facts. Don't let them cloud your judgment. Instead, analyze the idea objectively and see if it has a potential despite how you may feel about it in the moment. Now, how do you avoid this mistake? Separate your emotions from the facts. Just because you're not in the mood for a certain type of music or a certain cuisine at a restaurant doesn't mean that the restaurant's off or the band is not good. Don't let how you're feeling dictate or don't project that onto the band, the restaurant, or the idea that's being pitched to you. Do not let your emotions override what could be a great idea or a great meal. Park your emotions, think about whatever it is you're looking at or trying to make a decision about. Do that objectively. Do not let your emotions, and don't go for that, oh, I got to feel it, or I've got to feel it in my gut, or I got to have that warm, all over fuzzy glow feeling. It's BS. Don't let that derail it. It is a thinking mistake that a lot of people make, and it has killed off what I thought were some really, really great ideas and great innovations that could have had huge impact, but someone didn't feel it and killed the idea. Now, number 5, black and white thinking. This is when we see things as only one way or another and no middle ground. Now, in my case, I do tend to think more black and white. When it comes to good, bad, ethical, unethical, whatever, I'll either view it as something's going to be phenomenally good or it's going to be a flop, and that there's no room for anything in between. I've had to, over the years of my career in the innovation space, I've had to come back and recalibrate myself to say that, something, incremental innovation is not a bad thing. That's kind of the middle ground. It's either innovation's not about it's a flop or oh my god, it's changed the world. There is a middle ground. There's innovations that can have positive impact in the middle. And this is, being careful not to dismiss ideas because they didn't fit into what I perceived of what success looks like. That it's got to be some blowout idea or something that's just going to totally transform the world. Doesn't have to do that. But let's face it, success is rarely black and white. Success is messy. Innovation is messy. And it's got many shades in between. So we need to embrace the gray areas and be open to non-traditional ideas or non-traditional definitions of success. So how do you avoid this mistake? Again, embrace the gray areas. Not every idea is going to be a blowout, big, huge success, and that's okay. Do not fall into the thinking mistake of thinking in black and white terms. And number 6, thinking traps. What are thinking traps? Thinking traps are patterns of thinking that we fall into without even realizing it. Now, these can include jumping to conclusions or making an assumption or ignoring evidence because it doesn't fit into what our thinking is. Now, thinking traps are patterns of thought. We've trained ourselves into these thinking traps over many, many years through our career and our experience. This is where 1, experience, and 2, memory can play tricks on us. We can see ourselves as being, having had some kind of an experience in the past. And it's interesting because when you go talk to somebody who was on the exact same project team, working on the exact same thing, they will remember it completely differently. But we establish these traps, these patterns that we get caught up into, and then we apply it to the next project. Next year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. So be careful. These patterns or traps kind of sneak up on us. We're not even conscious of them. And again, we need to be able to have that ability to recognize when we might be falling into these traps. So step back, take a breath, and evaluate the situation objectively before jumping to any conclusions or applying any kind of an assumption. Recognize when you're jumping to a conclusion or applying an assumption. Now, how do you avoid this? Be mindful of your thought patterns and actively work to challenge them. Now, again, the list of the 6 common thinking mistakes are: number 1, confirmation bias, ignoring information that contradicts our existing beliefs and only focusing on what supports them. Number 2, overgeneralization, drawing broad conclusions from a limited set of instances. Number 3, catastrophizing, not even a word, predicting the worst possible outcomes unnecessarily. Number 4, emotional reasoning, allowing feelings rather than facts to guide what we think is real. Number 5, black and white thinking. Situations are never in a binary way, and we tend to dismiss the nuances in between. Number 6, thinking traps. Getting caught in patterns like jumping to conclusions or ignoring contrary evidence. So, what makes these mistakes? How do we, why are our minds making these mistakes in the first place? The truth is that our brains are wired to take shortcuts and simplify complex information. We're always looking for that easy out. While this may be useful in the past for survival purposes, it can hinder us when it comes to critical thinking and making sound decisions. But by being aware of these common thinking mistakes and then actively working to overcome them, we can train our brains to think more critically and more effectively. So, next time you catch yourself falling into one of these mistakes, remember that it's a chance for growth and for improvement. Keep challenging your thinking and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. The results may surprise you in the best way possible. And remember, life isn't a scripted performance. Don't get hung up on perfection. Look, I've suffered from these thinking mistakes over my entire career, and I'll tell you one thing that I can predict with accuracy. I will continue to make these thinking mistakes. This is something that you just don't fix, and it's always fixed. Now, if any of these mistakes resonate with you, or if you've discovered your own way of sidestepping these mental pitfalls, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on the latest episode here on the channel. And so with that, I'm going to thank you for spending the time, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Podcasting nonstop since 2005, this has been the Killer Innovation Show on the Innovators Network.